you need to address a specific issue, a specific problem, in order for you to figure out what is it that this business will entail. So for example, I teach business on various levels, and I always tell my students, to start with problems that we have in society, problems that we have within our communities. And currently with the entire COVID scenario, there are so many ideas that are cropping up, from healthcare to IT to food. And those are where we can source our business ideas from, because we can see now we are short of, for example, hospitals are short of beds, they're short of hospital supplies, there's shortages of food, there's transport issues, there's technology issues. So if you take all of that together, that is how you can figure out your problem. So basically you are taking note of your environment, you are looking at what's happening in society, and that is how you're trying to figure out, these are the problems that are here. So let me, as an entrepreneur, try to figure out a solution for this problem. Also, the other very important thing is, when you're looking at problems, don't go looking for things that are out of your reach. Be very simplistic and be realistic about the problem that you have. You don't want to go and create the next next space shuttle. Okay, start from where you are. For example, like in your own community, you find that, okay, we've got senior citizens in our community, and they are having problems. They are unable to go out. They are unable to buy their groceries. So if you and a group of your friends get together and you say, okay, fine, we're going to start a little business and we're going to help these senior citizens, then you can start your own little delivery service for the senior citizens. You can go to the shops, you can buy their stuff, and then you can deliver to them at home at a nominal or minimal fee. And that is how you start with the problem and the solution. Okay. So the next thing also is, when you're looking at problems, you also look at, these are my potential customers. So what are my potential customers doing at the moment? Do you think that I can give them or provide them an alternative to what they're using currently? And if your answer to that is yes, then obviously you have got a solution to it and you can move forward. The very next, the next important thing is that you need, whatever business idea that you have, you need to figure out is that, what is it that I have in my business idea or in my solution that's going to be very different or unique to what somebody else is doing. So for example, in your community, you have got 20 people who are busy, who've got food trucks. And out of the 20 of them, you decide, oh, I also want to do a food truck. And now you look at what is it that they are selling, and you try to figure out, okay, they're all selling chapatis and they're all selling vegetarian food. What different can I do? So your unique value proposition is about, how different can I be? Maybe the pricing can be different. Maybe I can add on to the products. Maybe I can have my customer service that's basically to the T, where I can really outcompete these other food trucks, because my customer service is so good that I'm going to have all of these customers coming to me instead of going to my competitors. Okay. And also, the very important thing also is how you advertising your business. So advertising your business and having the various channels is a way of you getting and attracting potential customers. So what I'm finding with a lot of my students is that everybody is going to all these huge advertising campaigns and paying loads and loads of money into doing advertising campaigns. And yet, if you look at just basic social media, I think within the COVID era, we've all learned that social media is like the channel to use for advertising business. Your Facebook, your WhatsApp, your Instagrams, your Twitters, and those are the things, your basic website is what's getting you going now into advertising your business. The other very important thing is that, like I just said just now, is customer segments in getting your potential customer. You need to figure out who your customer is. So, for example, if you want to start a coffee truck, So you decide, okay, I see that there's a need on my campus for a coffee truck because most of the students and the staff have to travel far to go and get very nice coffee. So okay, I'm going to have a food truck and I'm going to provide coffee. So my initial customer segment is actually my fellow peers on campus, the students on campus, the staff of campus. So they already, you've got your customer segment. You don't even have to go out into the community look to get customers. That can be your secondary customers as you expand your business. Are there any questions so far? Anybody want to ask me something? I want this to be an interactive session. I don't want to just sit behind you and just do all the talking. Is anybody that wants to ask me something in the meantime? No questions. Okay, so we move on to a very important thing also, that is in financing. When you're entrepreneurs are starting off in their own businesses, everyone's looking for finance. Oh no, we need to go and get funding. We need to go to a bank. We need angel investors. We need to get money from campus. We need to take student loans in order to do your business. But if you are using your principles of effectuation and you're looking at what you have within your means, you don't have to take loans. You can use crowdfunding. You can go to family. You can go to friends. As a group, if you're a group of 5 or 6 and you want to start your own little business, maybe you can all put in your own savings to get your business off the ground. So you don't necessarily have to always look for funding and look very far for funding. Okay. The other important thing is trying to figure out your cost structure. So with the entrepreneurship and starting your own business, the very important thing is trying to figure out and being very realistic as possible in terms of the cost that you are going to have or incur with your businesses. So the cost that you are going to incur are going to be basically your fixed costs and your variable costs. So if, for example, you want to develop the latest app for your student community, if you are going to develop an app, it would make sense to say that you don't really need an office to actually develop this app. You just need your group of friends. You can work at home. You can work in your dining room, an extra room in the house. You don't have to have an office where you need office furniture, where you need staffing. You can basically use what you have. You don't have to go out there looking for those added additional costs. The other thing is that in terms of fixed and variable costs, you need to also work within your means. And that is what we're trying to get across to entrepreneurship students. And that is why we're trying to drive this so much, is that when you want to start your own business, especially youngsters, youth like you guys, we really want you to just make use of what you have and to have as minimal overhead costs as possible and for you to take your little venture forward. I'm going to stop there because I kind of like covered very quickly my my canvas, my business model. Is there any questions so far?
Understood, ma'am. We were trying to gauge how you were explaining things. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
We understood what you shared with us so far.
You all understood it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So is there any one of you that are interested in wanting to start up a venture? Nobody's wanting to start their own venture.
If anyone wants to start their own venture, you can reply, not today, but tomorrow, whenever you want to become an entrepreneur. So you can reply it out, make it a, yeah. Someone
Okay,
possible, I would like to start my venture sometime in the future.
Sometime in the future.
Yes,
okay, so my next question then would be, what is it that you would like out of this session with me? Because I kind of like touched on what entrepreneurs are and what they do and what they need. So what is it that you would like me to touch on?
Ma'am, I would like to know that what are the skills that are required for entrepreneurs? What is one thing is seen in the one who is willing to go on with that internship?
Sorry,
That
I
one
didn't get.
major skill, like some personality knowledge. Now my question ask one thing that is very much required for an entrepreneur. Like some people say that it is the personality that matters. Some say that it's the knowledge that matters. Some say that it is the words that is important. How you present yourself.
Okay, so when I started teaching entrepreneurship more than 10 years ago, the thing that I started it was, who's an entrepreneur? Can anybody be entrepreneur, or do specific people, you do have specific characteristics that you need to have to be an entrepreneur? So initially, when we used to teach entrepreneurship, we used to say that it's a person who's got the drive and enthusiasm, who's innovative and creative, that can only do entrepreneurship. Not just anybody could be an entrepreneur. Now the mindset has changed. The mindset has changed that anybody, anywhere, if you have got the drive, if you have got the creativity, if you have got the mindset, you can become an entrepreneur. But very importantly is you need to have a specific mindset. Like, to start off, like you guys are on campus, you are students, you want to start maybe a student venture. Don't think big. The old mindset is that, we want to start a business because we want to maximize profits, and we want to just make lots and lots, we want to make lots of profit, lots of money. But the mindset now is not about making so much of money. The mindset now is about keeping that business sustainable, holding it along the long road, because you find that if you've looked around you now with the last 2 years with what's happened with COVID, we found that many businesses locally and globally have shut down. They had to decrease their staffing, they had to pivot their ideas, they had to change in order to survive. So that's the very important thing, is being able to have something small, something that's scalable, and something that you can pivot along the way when something like COVID happens. Nobody predicted what was going to happen, but it's happened, and it made businesses stand on their feet and like just think off the cuff, like, what do I need now in order to save this business? And what we found out is a lot of the technological companies are the ones that actually survived. Like the Teslas and the Elon Musk and all of those, the Facebooks and all of that have said. Having said that, we know what happened. Was it last week when Facebook and WhatsApp and all of that shut down? So also the lesson to learn is that no matter what business you have, how big it is, that there will always be some risk involved. I don't think Facebook and WhatsApp ever figured that there would be a problem like this where it will shut down globally. Okay, so always at the back of your mind, always, especially if you're going to go international business, the idea is that at the back of your mind, you got to know that nothing is 100% anymore. That's a given. We've actually learned this within the last 2 years. So we need to know that there are risks involved, and also if plan A fails, if this part of the business fails, are we going to pivot? What are we going to do? What's going to be our detour within this risk period to get back onto track again? So that is actually a very important mindset to have as an entrepreneur. So in working with that, also the very important thing, like I said, we've got to maintain working. We call it effectuation principles, where you have a few. These are entrepreneurship basic, like, mindset principles. Where you're basically working with what you have. You have your bird in the hand principle, and instead of looking far away, you're looking within yourself, within your means, within your community, with what you have. Looking at your friends, family, and all of that. So entrepreneurship now, there's a mindset that's going on now that instead of thinking big and looking at building the next rocket, we are actually wanting to start small, because at the end of the day, whether you're just an entrepreneur in your community or even at campus, at the end of the day, you are going to employ more people. And as you employ more people, you're going to create employment. And that is what we need in the entire world, is we need people employed, because more than half the population are unemployed. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So does anybody else have any questions? Okay. If not, that's fine. So I want to just share something with you. Anuj, can you just give me a screen share?
Yes, I'm just making you host for the session so that you can share your screen. 1 minute. Now you can share your screen.
Right. Can you see that?
The
Can everybody
canvas
see that?
business
Yes,
model.
ma'am.
Okay, so you're all familiar with this. You all know this business model.
I have
Yes,
studied it during entrepreneurship, but it's a very good model.
So have any of the others used this model before? No. Okay. So basically, this is what we call the basic lean canvas business model. So when you are an entrepreneur, when you're starting your own business, there are a few things that, like I said earlier on, that you need to know and have in order for you to pitch this model. So for example, I did say that we don't want to go to big investors, and you don't want to go for a loan. You want to use your means. But even with that, in order to start a business, you must have at least a model, a business model. You can't decide, okay, I'm going to do this business and I'm only just going to think out of my head and I'm going to go along the way. No, you need to put it into a little refined model, put it together so that when the time comes and you need to market this model to a prospective investor or a bank or for funding, you need to have a business model. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. This is an Airbnb model. Okay, but I also like using this because this is something that I've actually used as my own business model for 15 years and 17 years, and it is still running. It is still sustainable. So this is what I'm using, and I have as my own business as well. I've got another business as well, which I pivoted about 6 times to date. Okay. So the lesson is that don't think that the model is set and dry and it can't be changed. No, as time goes, as things change, times change, as the risks increase, you've got to constantly change and also pivot this model. Okay, so if we're looking at wanting to the Airbnb model, so for example, all of you have, just say for example, you've got a spare room at home, or maybe you have decided, okay, now COVID is here, so we need to make some extra cash. What can we do? So maybe you decide, okay, we're going to put up bunk beds. I'm going to put up a bunk bed in my bedroom, and I'm going to share my room with my brother or my sister. Okay. Then you decide, okay, I'm going to take my room and I'm going to paint it. I'm going to put in a nice cupboard, and I'm going to make it into a very nice room with its own little bathroom. And now I can rent this room out as either an Airbnb. I can do it as student accommodation. I can even offer it to me who's coming to visit you. You know, I'm coming from Cape Town in South Africa. I want to come to India. I want to come to Delhi, and I've got no accommodation, or I think that the hotels are too much. So I'm looking for somebody who can host me in their home. Okay, so you have a concept that's very much like the Airbnb concept. Okay, So here you're figuring, so now you as the person, you are the host. So you have figured out that, okay, there's a need in at campus. We need accommodation for the students. They're running short of of accommodation. Or okay, the guests that are coming here, they're finding the hotels too expensive. Or we've got somebody like Charmaine who wants to come to Delhi and she needs accommodation. So you've already figured out that there is a problem. There's a problem where there's a lack of accommodation. So there we go. So that's the first part of your lean canvas. Then you try to figure out, okay, so now what are the existing alternatives for me? Okay, say now you're going to cater now for guests from Cape Town. Okay, so now you figured out, okay, so the alternative for me, for Charmaine, is that when she comes there, she books into a hotel, but she finds that the hotels are not what she wants. They're too expensive. They're too far away. She needs to travel too far. So, okay, this is now what I'm doing. I'm using the hotel, but I'm not happy with it. So now your solution is going to be that you are going to help me by creating a space in your home, which is the initial concept of the Airbnb. You create a space in your home where you call it a home away from home in order to accommodate guests. Okay. So now what you've done, so let's make this now a little bigger. So now you've got a group of friends, just say you are 5 friends, and now you guys have decided, okay, each one of us can share a room in our house. We can have that space available for guests. So already there's 5 of you, you've got 5 rooms in all of your houses. So already you can all cater for 5 guests, and that is where the business starts. Okay. So you have figured out that you've got that. Now you need to find out, okay, fine. So now Charmaine is coming, and then she tells me, she's got 4 other friends that you want to bring along with her. So, okay, so you don't have enough space. So now you are sharing this space with all your other friends. So there you are. You've got them all sorted out, and you've got your key metrics. Okay. So key metrics again is basically when your guests come, how many guests you have, how many can you accommodate, how you are going to list them. Where will Charmaine find this information? Okay, I'm going to advertise it. Maybe I'm going to put a little ad on my social media. I'm going to put an ad maybe on Facebook, and then I'm going to say accommodation available in your town. Okay, so that is where your key metrics are. And from there, you're going to figure out, okay, so now Charmaine and her friends are coming, and they're coming for 2 weeks. And once they leave, there's another lot coming for another 2 weeks. And this is how you get your key metrics going, is that if Charmaine likes the accommodation, she's happy, we've treated her very well, she's going to go out there and she's going to tell everybody, her entire friend circle, that, you know what, I stayed in Delhi, I liked it very much, and this is actually a host. It's not a hotel, and I'm getting more a home feeling here. And she spreads the word, and there you go, and there your business starts, because now more and more people want to come to you. Okay, and now to measure this here, now you're going to figure out, okay, when I came there, maybe I didn't like the bedding, maybe it wasn't 100% cotton, maybe that's something I didn't like. So you figure out, okay, she liked everything else, but she complained about the bedding. So okay, now we need to look at 100% cotton bedding, because this is what they like. The guests from South Africa like 100% cotton. Okay, so to measure your key metrics, you're looking at, what is it that we are going to put in place just to figure out, are our guests happy, are they not happy? So you're going to write maybe a few lines on a piece of paper. You're going to do a little survey. Okay, are you happy with the accommodation? Are you happy with the food? Then I might say, okay, I'm unhappy because it's too far. Transport is an issue. Then you're going to say, okay, guys, who of us here can get transport? So maybe now you've brought in another 5 friends, and these guys have all got their own cars, and now you decided, okay, fine, so now we're going to have our own cars, we're going to use it, and now we're going to transport our guests. So that is one problem solved. And that is how you go on, and that's how you figure out your key metrics, by measuring the quality of your accommodation, the quality of your business, how by word of mouth, how many people are going to go on and look at your Facebook page. You're going to count, okay, there's like 20 people this week, next week there's 40 people, and so the list is increasing. Okay, then we're going to go off and do something called the unique value proposition. So that's basically just saying, what is it that we have that is going to be our unique about us. Okay, so we are now providing our unique value proposition is that now we are providing an alternative. So whereas she and her friends don't want to go to a hotel and stay because it's too expensive and it's too cold and it's just a very cold feeling, now we are providing an alternative. Plus the added benefit here is that it's a home away from home. She's getting to mingle with the families there in Delhi. She's going to get to know about our food and our culture and all of that. Okay, so that's where your unique value proposition comes in, because I won't be getting all of those services when I'm staying in a hotel. Okay. The next thing is the unfair advantage. Unfair advantage here in your business model. So an unfair advantage is, what is it that you have that is different to your competitor? Or what is it that you have that it's going to outcompete your competitor? So for example, yes, you've got all these very major big hotels, which are 5-star, 6-star hotels. And here you just very simply a home away from home. So what is going to get you to be of an advantage that's going to outcompete everything else when you're advertising this business now, for example, in South Africa? So your unique advantage or your unfair advantage is going to be that you are going to provide a home away from home service. So when Charmaine comes from South Africa with her friends, I'm like a fourth generation Indian out of India. My great grandparents came from India, but I don't live there. I live in South Africa. So I want something that's also similar to what I have at home. You know, I want a nice setting. I want to be able to do my prayers. I want to be able to eat my nice curries and my chapatis. And so it's creating a very homely feeling. So that becomes then your unfair advantage, because that homely feeling is not the same as in the hotel. You know, for example, in the morning, you're doing your prayers, in the afternoons, and I'm getting to be part of that. I'm participating, which means that you now have this unique advantage, which is totally different to what the hotels offering. They just offer you a service, bed, breakfast, and off you go to do your thing. Okay, so that is what you need. So so that's the unfair advantage. Are you all with me, or am I talking too fast? Do you understand where we're going with this?
Yes, ma'am, we understood.
Okay, great. So the channels, again, like I said earlier on, you don't want to, there's no need for you to advertise on or have large scale advertisements where I see when I'm busy with my student evaluations, everybody's putting in like 100,000 to advertise and do. No, use basic social media advertising. It's free. So why on earth would you want to go and pay for advertising when you can use something that's free? Facebook is across the globe. WhatsApp, you can WhatsApp me. We've been chatting WhatsApp from there to here. So why wouldn't you do that? Twitter, Instagram. There's no need for you to go and pay lots of money to get your business going. Okay. So channels are use your social media channels, use word of mouth, advertise on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, and all of that. And that is how you get your this is your free advertising. No need to pay. So far, from what we've done here, you really haven't invested that much money into this business. You've just maneuvered things around. You've just pivoted around in your home. You've given off your room. You've got your cupboard. You've got your bed. You've got your bedding. You've got everything that your guest needs. And then, of course, you're providing the meals and that homely concept. So far, you haven't really given out any money. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because your guest is eating basically what you are eating. So you haven't really figured you haven't let out any cash for any of this here, because this is exactly your room at home and that is it. Okay. So now with your customer segment, so like we said, your customer obviously is me. I'm an international guest. I'm from Cape Town in South Africa. And then of course, if I come and I like it, coming with my 5 friends, and once we've been and we've done, it's going to just be a continuation. Okay, so it's going to be international guests. Then COVID has happened, no more international guests. Now what do? You're stuck, because now Charmaine and her friends and the guests from South Africa or international guests can't come and stay at your house anymore. So what are you going to do? You're going to now have to resegment and your customer profile, and you're going to have, okay, customers from Cape Town, and now you're going to say, okay, fine, I can make use of people here. So there are people coming from other cities, other little towns looking for accommodation. So there's your next value proposition for your business. So now that the international part is cut off, you can't do anything about it. You've got now plan B. Now you can pivot and you can segment your customer base. Does that make sense? Okay. Are you guys there? Does it make sense? So no, yes. Okay, great. And then of course, your other customers we call early adopters also can be people who are traveling, who are coming for conferences, who are just coming overnight, people who need to come during COVID. People are all at home, but now they need to get to the office and they need to come to Delhi. They need accommodation just overnight. So you can provide that as well. So now where you've lost your international your guest profile, now you've got your local guests that you can deal with. Okay. So we've done the problem, we've done the alternatives, we've done the solution, we've done the key metrics, we've done the unique value proposition, we've done the high level concept, unfair advantage, your channels of communication, your customer segment, who your early adopters are. Now we go to the cost structure, which I've said again, your cost structure is basically the cost that you will incur, whether they are fixed costs or variable costs, for this business venture that you have. Okay, so now with your venture, which is going to be something that's similar to an Airbnb or overnight guest accommodation or tourist guest accommodation, your cost structure is basically just going to be maybe renovating the room. Maybe every time you just put something new in the room, maybe change the color of the room. Oh, okay, not the color of the room. Then maybe you'll change the curtains, change the bedding, just to give it a new look every time you get new visitors. So that might just be your cost, but otherwise, no, everything else is basically the same as home. You've got your room at home with the electricity. If you're using electricity, it's the same thing. You're not doing any extra, anything extra, because everything is coming from what you would have been doing in your room at home. Okay, but what you're gaining from it is that you are gaining a good amount of profit, because when I'm coming with my our exchange rate, and you're charging me a fee, and you're making a very nice profit. Okay, so in terms of cost structure, always look at businesses or business ideas where your cost structure is always kept to a bare minimal. I always say to my students, keep the fixed and the variable cost as low as possible. If you don't need to get an office with equipment, then don't get the office with equipment. Work from home. Use what you have at home. There's no need. With the current era that we are in, everybody's working from home. I'm working from home. I don't need to actually go out. So make use of what you have within your means to cut on those cost structures. Of course, if you want to build a product, and the product obviously is going to need all the material and everything else and a place to manufacture the product, then that's different. Then you are definitely going to have your overhead and fixed costs and variable costs for that. Okay, so that's the cost structure. Then we always talk about the revenue stream. So revenue stream basically is, with this business of mine, what other revenue can I generate from this business? And that is something that many students forget about, or many entrepreneurs forget about, is that, okay, I've got this part of the business going now, but what else can I do, or what else can I add as an extension, line extension, business extension, in order to gain more revenue from this business? Okay, so now you figured out that plan A was the international guests. Plan B now is going to be local tourists. Then your other revenue will be students on campus. It will be overnight guests. It can be a single professional that wants to move out of home and has decided, I don't want to stay anyway. I'll rather just stay in an overnight accommodation like this here. Okay, so these are all your additional revenue streams that you are going to have. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. And yeah, so you guys fire away with the questions. I'll stop sharing. Okay, great. So are there any other questions? Is there anything else that you would like to ask me, that you'd like me to cover? Because I see we've got like about 15 minutes.
I'm like how you entered into this teaching of entrepreneurship. Like, आपको ये idea, how you got this idea basically? You wanted to do this. Am I
That I want
audible,
to.
ma'am?
You mean how did I get the idea that I want to teach business?
Yes.
That I teach
Yes.
entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship and how you moved along with it.
Oh, okay. So basically, I started with entrepreneurship. I was initially in the healthcare industry. I was working clinically in hospitals, and then I went from clinical to management, and then I went into education, and then I went and studied business. And when I studied business, I found that, oh, I think this is actually more exciting than working in a hospital. And that is how I started. While I was basically doing my MBA, I got to start teaching business. My prof wanted me to start to assist with teaching of business, and that is where I stayed. However, I've also still kept my finger on healthcare. I didn't want to lose my clinical skills, so I'm still busy doing that at the back. I'm doing workshops and COVID training and all sorts of things just to keep that there. But with entrepreneurship, I just felt that I just had this passion to want to teach entrepreneurship, and also because of the world as it is, that there's so much of unemployment out there, and everybody's just wanting to get into a job, and in order to get jobs, we need to have more companies, and like in South Africa, for example, we are not as big as India in terms of entrepreneurship, because I mean India is like the one of the top five leading countries in terms of entrepreneurship education. We lag behind. We are very far behind here, and so that is what got me going, where I wanted to just get to coach and mentor and assist students who want or entrepreneurs or startups, to get them going, to assist them. So sometimes you have this wonderful big idea, and then after you've done the business model and you've done your mathematics, and then you say, oh God, but I don't think this idea is actually going to work. It's not going to be viable. So entrepreneurs also need that kind of assistance and mentorship in order to get going. It's very difficult to be, on your own and have no assistance and no coaching and get the business going. It's very difficult. So that is why I've joined the entrepreneurship ecosystem, where I teach it, I coach it, I mentor it. I've also, got onto the Wadhwani Foundation. So the Wadhwani Foundation is where I do a lot of my free work. I do a lot of volunteer work. Basically, 70% of what I do, beside my own position that I have, is doing, voluntary work. So we run entrepreneurship programs where we facilitate the entire 12-week or 8-week entrepreneurship program. You get facilitators who assist you, take you up from the first part, which is finding out who you are, to generating a business idea, to taking this business idea and bringing it into a fully fledged venture. So that is what we do. And also at the end of it, there are a lot of potential investors who want to invest in certain, of the ventures, especially when they're high tech or they're involved with agriculture. They want to invest in the business. So that is where the students get into the program. And once they're in the program, they pass the program, then they move on to a next leg. So that helps a lot. And also, besides also facilitating the program, because I believe if I want to teach it, I must know the program as well. So I teach the program, mentor, coach, and then also I'm one of the global jury. So the global jury is basically what we do is the entrepreneurship programs are across the globe, in 15 countries across the globe. So it's South Africa, it is Latin America, India, Indonesia, Egypt, gosh, they're all over. So they're in 15 countries. So what we do is the students do their ventures, and then we have a global jury that sits on and we judge these student ventures. So we look at them and we say, okay, fine, this is going to be a good venture to invest in. This is a good venture to go forward. This is not a good venture. This venture needs more work. So we send it back to the students and to the campus, and they work on it. They pivot it, they change the ideas, and then they come back again. So for me, it's very exciting because I get a chance to see ideas from across the globe, from India to Indonesia to Philippines, South Africa, Egypt, everywhere. I get to see these ideas. And it also improves my own knowledge and my own mindset about what is happening in the world. So you guys do international business. So the thing about international business is you must know what is going on around you in the world. You must have an idea of international economics. You know, it's not only the microeconomics in your own country. You must know what's happening out there, your macroeconomics. You know, I think you all know about the peso. You know, trying to learn about other countries, the host countries, their cultures, their legislation, everything that's to do with the way businesses run also internationally. So that is what I do. And currently what I'm doing is I've started a few months ago. So I'm trying to get into all the university campuses across the world, not only just India. So coming in as not only a guest lecturer, because I don't like the term guest lecture. I don't like to lecture per se. I like interactive sessions where students come, they say, okay, we want to run with this idea here. What can we do? And I tell you, okay, fine, we're going to sit with this idea here. Okay, it's going to work. It's not going to work. You know, that is what I want to do. I don't want to sit in front of my PC and give you a full-on lecture and go through PowerPoint slides. Oh, no, that's not what entrepreneurship is about. It's about being interactive and participating with the students. Any other questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
And maybe Anuj, Professor Anuj can maybe later on get into the program, because the Wadhwani program is actually a very nice program, but kind of like gets you into, you know, gets you into taking your business idea and furthering with your business idea. Yeah. Hi, Anuj, I can't hear you. Any other questions? We've got like about 5 minutes, I think.